Welcome to the Go Slow to Go Fast Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Kendra Chapman, and this is the space where we talk to fascinating people about how they go slow in a fast-paced world. Joining me today is Katharine Chestnut. Katharine works with people who have been holding it together for a long time, people who are very capable, busy, responsible, and driven, but quietly they're running on empty. And what I appreciate about her approach is that she doesn't talk about burnout or calm in an abstract way or with fluffy self-care language. Instead, she talks about the moments that we all recognize: decision fatigue, constant tension, and pushing through when we're exhausted. And that feeling where we're productive on the outside, but depleted underneath. In this conversation, we talk about why willpower eventually stops working under stress, why so many high-functioning people stay stuck in survival mode much longer than they realize, and how calm confidence is actually something that we can learn to build over time. I hope that you'll walk away from this episode like I did, with language for things that you may have been feeling, but you couldn't quite name, and some simple tools that you can start using today. Let's get started. Katharine, I just want to say thank you for agreeing to sit down with me on a Friday afternoon and just talk all things slow. So if you don't mind just kind of walking us through how you go slow these days?
These days, I go slow a lot of different ways, but I go fast also in a lot of different ways. I have two businesses. I own a co-working space. I'm also a mindfulness and meditation teacher and an author, working on my next book. So busy, right? It's just kind of how I roll. But I also had to learn that I can't just go all the time without taking care of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn how to set boundaries for my own care. And when I had, I'm an empty nester now, but when my daughter was in the house, I had to start figuring out how to give myself time. I also used to travel a ton, and I'm almost 2 million miles on Delta. And I had to find places, and how that expresses itself now is through mindful journaling, at least a couple times a week.
Mm-hmm.
I also practice breathwork at least a couple times, 2, 3, 4 times a day. If I can find a little moment where I'm transitioning from one task to another, rather than just blasting from one thing to the next, which is how I used to roll, I now stop. And if it's nice out like it is today, it's a beautiful day here, I'll go outside and I might just breathe for 3, 4, 5 minutes. Just breathe and then go to the next task. So finding those little moments, they don't have to be big. That was the other thing that I had to learn. I didn't have to go to the high Himalayas,
Right,
to go on a retreat to figure this out, because one, that wasn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I learned that little bits add up, they accumulate. And I always end my day with a sleep meditation. And if I wake up in the middle of the night, which I invariably do,
Right.
usually around between 3 and 4 o'clock, that's when that happens. Sometimes I can get right back to sleep, and frequently my brain will start going, like, "What do I need to do tomorrow?" Like, blah, 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 la, 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 la. And,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I will listen to another sleep meditation, which will, you know, combines breath works and body scans and visualization and things like that, whatever I feel like that moment. And I will do that, and I'll be able to get back to sleep 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that you've shared your practices in a way that it's like, this didn't just all of a sudden come to me. I've had to work on this and acquire these skills. And I'm still, like I might have a sleep meditation when I first fall asleep, but I might have to do it again when I wake up again in the middle of the night. And, women in midlife, that's kind of reality for us, right? We either have a hard time falling asleep or staying asleep these days. And that's normal for most of us until
I
we figure out what works.
Yeah, till we figure out
Yeah.
what works. I have a friend, because I have quite a few sleep meditations, published, and I have a friend who owns, a co-working business, in South Carolina, and she says, "I can't listen to you." She
Yeah.
says, "It's too weird
Mm-hmm.
for you to be in my bedroom while I'm trying to sleep." I'm like, "Fair."
Yeah, that's fair.
But she listens to a sleep meditation too. She has 2 businesses as well,
Mm-hmm.
so she's one of those, and she's constantly still taking care of her kids. So she's got more to deal with, than I do at the moment. But, I had to learn it while I was in the middle of all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
setting boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
getting very clear about, this is my time,
And being okay with it, like not feeling guilty, right?
right? And I felt like when my daughter was younger, I felt like I was setting a model for her to be
Mhm.
able to take care of herself as she got older. So she would be able to set boundaries,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
frequently, a boundary doesn't mean that we're withdrawing from the world. It just means that we're taking a moment
Mhm.
to just be
Yeah.
us, whatever that means.
Right.
A lot of people are afraid sometimes. I know I was. Initially, I felt like, oh, if I'm meditating and I'm too zen, then I'm not going to be Miss Corporate Kick-Ass
Mhm. Like
anymore.
two both can't be true, right?
Right.
Mhm.
And it's actually, I became a better leader because I came from a place of that was more stable,
Yeah.
and I was able to look at things from a broader perspective. It gave me the ability to have more discernment as I was, you know we have this thing that, like, busyness means productivity, and
Yeah.
the universe, I have also found, is if you don't make the time, the universe is gonna give it to you, whether you want
Mhm.
it or not.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah, and I what you hit on just a minute ago really hit me as well because I think we either feel like taking a moment for ourselves. I can think back to when I was, because I'm Gen X, I can think back to a time when the Palmolive commercials were on, or Calgon, Take Me Away. And it was always moms who were at home. And it was like you already had this kind of idea that, busyness looked this way. And so if you're not doing that, then you can't have a moment to yourself. And it's just so interesting. And then the moment to yourself is either in a bath or washing dishes. That was it.
Right. Or a manicure.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm Jen Jones. So I remember that. And I also came into the workforce at a time where I felt, and I think a lot of women did, felt like they had to prove themselves every single minute of every
Oh,
single
yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And there's no crying in business, and you have to be
No.
unemotional, and you have to be on, and you have to do extra
Yeah.
to prove that you deserve to be where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it was exhausting.
Yes. Yes. I can only imagine how exhausting, because later it seemed like for me coming in, it was just you had to be on all the time. And that was kind of my struggle of knowing when to cut it off and take my time.
I
Yeah.
remember being at a conference, and I was working towards a certification, and the conference was 4 days long, and it was once a year, and you had to have 16 classes, and then a final, and then an exam, and then a thesis, and then it was a lot. But I remember sitting at a lunch on a Thursday after we'd been there all day Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning, taking classes and learning. And I remember sitting at this table and everybody's talking about the things that they've learned, which are great and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember going, can we talk about anything else
Yeah.
except marketing? Can
Right.
we talk about our dogs and our cats and our kids and our gardens? Can we talk about anything else but this right now? I need a
Yeah.
break.
Mm-hmm. And there always needs to be somebody in that conversation to bring it out of work. So it's helpful to have that person in the group.
Yeah. I remember somebody going, "Oh, thank God you said that."
Right. But, it's like, what is that? Why do you think busy people feel like they can't take a moment just to have fun or set boundaries or do the self care? Like, what is the stereotype or stigma, I guess, stigma around all that?
Well, I think again, I think it comes back to if we're busy, we're being productive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we equate busyness with productivity.
Mm,
So if I'm busy doing something, um, you know, doing a RFP presentation or whatever it happens to be during the day in a boardroom. And then I get home at night and I have to feed my daughter in 40 minutes before I drive her to dance or choir or whatever. So I'm busy. And then she says, "Oh, mom, I have to take cookies to school tomorrow." So then you come home and you're making cookies and you're doing it.
mm-hmm.
You're super badass because you're doing it, but and then you fall in the bed.
Right.
But there's this satisfaction, weirdly satisfying that, "Oh, right, I got all of this done. Look at me
Mm-hmm.
go."
Right. And then I'm going to get up and do it all over again tomorrow.
Yep. And we wonder why we're tired.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that you should stop doing those things, but like I said, finding the little slivers of time for you,
Mm-hmm.
that was how I started. I didn't start by burning down the house and
Right.
quitting a job that I loved doing because
Mm-hmm.
I did like doing it. I did get a lot of satisfaction from what I was doing, but I realized that I had to change how I showed up for me
Mm-hmm.
inside all of that.
Right.
The emotional shift was what came first.
Mm-hmm.
And then I eventually shifted my career and I'm doing what I am now. But the same is kind of true of how I came to be a meditation and mindfulness teacher and author. I was doing all of those things for me, and I thought, I'm not the only one.
Mm-mm. No, that needs it, needs to add that into their life. Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, knowing that you've shifted into this work more fully and really putting that forward out into the world, are you seeing that more and more professionals are having a hard time with the idea of self-care? Because that's kind of your niche. Like, you work with people that think self-care is a luxury and maybe not something for them. But, you're really showing them that it's helpful. There's benefits to this. Like, are you getting pushback, or do you just kind of show people the practical ways to
I
build it
don't
in?
I think there's more people that are realizing this, especially because it's becoming more and it's more mainstream to hear people talking about mindfulness and meditation and, uh, we didn't talk about those things, and a lot of the things that I do, we didn't call it mindfulness back then.
Right.
We didn't. And meditation was this thing that, Buddhist monks did. And, I remember trying to do it over and over for years, in my 30s and in my 40s, and I'm trying to meditate. And I had the misconception that I had to sit a certain way and I had to empty my mind. And so first off, no, on so many levels. So no, it doesn't. Um, you don't have to be in a silent place with sound bowls. I mean, sure, that's lovely when you can get it,
Yeah.
but I've been known to go and, while I'm waiting to get on a flight, go find a corner and have my earbuds in and close my eyes and either listen to a guided visualization or a meditation or listen to ambient music and just breathe
Mm-hmm.
or do a body scan or something like that. It was, or go in, if you have access to one of the clubs at the airport, you can always find a corner, but you can find a corner anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And that's a great reminder because, people, might try meditation and then abandon it and then come back to it and then see it works for them maybe for 10 minutes in their home. But then to apply it out in the real world when you're in a busy space like an airport, that's where you know that it's really integrating into your life and you can do it whenever you need to, which is important.
Yeah, even when there are times where it's very chaotic around me and, I might be triggered by something, especially when I first started my recovery journey from, an emotionally abusive marriage, uh, I would get triggered by something, not gonna lie. And it wasn't that I didn't wanna validate whatever emotion I was feeling, but I needed to regulate it. I needed to acknowledge it and then let it move on. And so I would go to the ladies' room because I was in a public space or, I was in a place where it wasn't appropriate. So I would just, excuse me, I'll
Yeah.
be back in a few minutes.
Please hold.
Yeah. Yes. One moment, please.
Yep. Hmm.
I'll be right back. And again, a minute or two or three. of deep breathing of some kind was very frequently enough for me to like, okay, it's okay. Feel what I'm feeling and just let that emotion move through me and out. Cause that was the other thing. Going through this process also helped me learn to let go of the stuff that's not mine.
Yes. And can you share a little bit more about what that means? Because, people may not really understand. Why would something be coming through me that's not mine?
Well, and I think as women, we have a tendency to we're expected to be caretakers and and it even happens today. I'll be working with somebody and a coworker and she's in her 20s and she gets off a call and she has a look on her face and I'm like, "What's uh come here, bring it in," right? And I'll give her a hug. And that's an example of showing empathy but not owning what she was experiencing,
Hmm.
but also, especially recovering from the trauma, we want to play those experiences, those conversations, those this happened and what if this happened and I should have reacted this way and blah blah blah, all the shoulda coulda wouldas.
Hmm.
And getting in a place where I'm just in the moment, just pausing to breathe and acknowledge my body. There's something about that just allows you to disconnect and let go of those things, even if it's just for 60 seconds.
Hmm.
And,
Yeah.
oh, I could have done better in this presentation, or, oh, how this client conversation went, or whatever it was. We'll debrief, if you will, in our own
Hmm.
minds a lot. And pausing allows us to take the emotional charge out of it. Again, when I was talking about being able to be more discerning about, well, this is something I can control
Hmm.
and that is something else. Being more, emotionally regulated
Hmm.
allows me to have a bigger picture perspective while also being very present in my own self. Is that answering your question?
Yeah. I mean, I think you've walked us through kind of your thought process when emotions come up, whether they're yours or not. And I think, that's something that's really resonated with me in this conversation and in previous conversations, but it just keeps coming back up. So I thought, well, and it took me a while to understand what that meant. Like, if you don't acknowledge, it's not going to allow to move through you. And so you can let it go. And you've got to eventually do that work. So you can either ignore it or you can do the work, however it works for you. But it's going to get louder and it may manifest in ways that you are not ready for if you can't do it now. So that's kind of why I wanted to spend a minute on that.
Absolutely. I am a big believer. I mean, how many times have you gotten a cold or sick or something like that and you say, "Oh, I've just been pushing too hard." How
Mhm.
many times have we said that?
Mhm.
And we know it's true.
Yeah, but we just move on. We keep moving.
And that is the universe saying, "You weren't doing it, so I had to put the smack down on you."
Right. Right. And I mean, and I've had so many conversations with women, and we know it, especially in education. We know during the breaks, people like to make a lot of comments about how we get all these breaks. Well, guess what? We need these breaks so our bodies can recoup. Spring break, it usually ends up with, it used to. I would be sick for that whole week, and then I'd go back to school finally feeling better Monday morning, like, okay, we're going to do this again for 3 more months. So, and then it's the summer break. And guess what? I got sick right out of, being out. So it's like it's a human thing that we think we can just be invincible and power through, but it's going to hit us over the head eventually.
But if we're taking these, these little mini
Yes.
breaks, and
Mm-hmm.
again, I'm talking about 60 seconds
Yeah.
of closing your eyes and breathing and just being in your body. And the
Mm-hmm.
other thing that people think at mindfulness is like meditation is that, oh, I'm clearing my mind. No, 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 no. Because
Yeah.
our brains do not function like that.
Yeah. Good luck.
Our brains are designed to be constantly scanning for threats. And that's great. Our it's taking care of us, right? Like it's looking for the saber-toothed tiger still, even though there's not any, but there are things that represent that for us now. And if our bodies feel safe and we can take that moment that, oh, that feels good. I want more of that. And coming back to it, people think that, when I was talking earlier about meditation and gonna clear my mind, never gonna clear my mind. I can focus on my breath, and guess what? Here comes the dun 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 dun. Dun. What do I have to do tonight? No, 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 no. Hi, I see you there. You just wait over there
Right.
and come
Acknowledge,
back.
allow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
back to your breath, come back to your body. That's what mindfulness is. It's the return.
Being aware and allowing and returning. I like that. And you mentioned a little bit about doing a body scan could be a strategy too. There might be some people out there who don't know what that is, and they may have listened to a meditation and they may have gone through a body scan, but they didn't understand what that was and what the benefits are. So can you just kind of touch on that for a minute?
Body scans are one of my favorites. That and breath work. Actually, there's so many things, but a body scan is, if you're breathing and breath, we can take for granted because we do it constantly. But a body scan focuses your thoughts on different parts of the body. So it's giving your mind something to do other than breathe in and breathe out, breathe in, right? Because sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes we need something else to focus on. And a body scan is good for that. And you can either start at the top of your head or you can start with your toes. And, I kind of mix it up. I tend to start with my feet and just focus my attention. And I usually close my eyes because that removes all the visual distractions that I might have. I've done this on an airplane so many times. Uh, Start with my feet. How do what am I sensing in my feet? Are they hot? Are they cold? How do they feel in my shoes? How do my ankles feel? So moving up slowly. How do my calves feel? My knees and my thighs and my hips and moving up the body. And when I'm doing it, I frequently imagine a light shining on that part of my body. So by the time I get to the top of my head, there's this beautiful light that can It's like a flower over my head. And like I said, it gives your mind something to latch on to other than your breath. Sometimes we need something else, and it brings us very, very solidly into our bodies and grounds us in that moment. I am here. And again, that's just a moment.
Do you have any suggestions for when somebody kind of comes across maybe a pain when they're doing their body scan? If they notice, a part of their body is a little achier today, would you have anything to kind of say or think during that time?
So, yes, I just had my hip replaced last year because I've been living a big life and I wore out one of my hips. And for 8 months, I was trying to do everything to heal this, and acupuncture and chiropractic and breathing, healing, and sending healing energy to eventually I figured out that I had to get it replaced. And then afterwards, when it was healing, right, there's those little tinglies as the nerves are coming back together. And when I was feeling that, I would stroke that part of my body and say, thank you. Thank you for healing me. Thank you for taking care of me. And even if it's just, my shoulder's a little sore today, just thank you. I appreciate, thank you for letting me know that you need a little break. I appreciate that. So, and you don't have to say it out loud or anything like that, or just send attention and light. If I'm in a place where I can, I will just go, thank you. I appreciate you. You take me from one place to the other, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, you can do this in the airport, in the bathroom. You can do it right before you go to bed, when you wake up. I mean, there's lots of ways you can incorporate this into your day.
I've been known to do it in between meetings, whether if
Mm,
they be in person or Zoom calls, just to give me a break because there's that transition. When I was talking about transitions, they can be physical transitions or they can be, virtual transitions. Like so many of us are on Zoom. And if I have to go from one Zoom to another, I'm like, okay, before I get on that call, I just need to close my eyes and breathe and allow myself to be okay. Now I can go to the next.
hmm Yeah. Yes. Agreed. So we've really dove into the self-care strategies that you feel have really benefited yourself and or your clients. I really love where we went with that. Do you feel like, or not feel, but what are your thoughts on busy professionals, busy humans out there in the world listening to this and wondering whether or not, they can deal with the stress in their workday and maybe work in some of these strategies. But is there a way that they can really bring down the stress, you know, long term? Like what might you share as far as, some practices around that and maybe thinking, what could we know what a day can look like, maybe in between meetings, but what could it look like long term for somebody busy and stressed?
I think long term, all these little bits, and you have to find the ones that work best for you. They need a place in your life daily. And I'm not going to tell you how long you need to do it for and what you need to do because, what was it, a few years ago? There was a big fad about like, oh, you have to get up in the morning and journal straight for stream of consciousness for, I don't know, 30 minutes or an hour. And I'm like, who has time for that? I'm not doing that. If I'm journaling sometimes for 5 minutes, sometimes for 10. And I don't know what I'm going to journal about. Sometimes I have a issue that's coming up for me and I just want to just blah, 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 whatever comes out. But again, I'm not doing that every day and I'm not doing it at the same time. I'm doing it as it fits in.
So it doesn't have to be a regimented thing. It can
No,
be flexible.
because I don't know about you,
Mhm.
but I like to think I'm a bit of a rebel.
Mhm.
And if somebody tries to tell me what to do, even if it's myself,
Right.
I'm going to rebel.
Mm.
And I think people who are busy and accomplished all feel that way. You can't tell me what to do,
Mhm. Yeah.
right?
Right. Right.
So, thought, I went searching for anything. When I first woke up from, especially the abusive marriage, I was like, okay, what were all the things that I was doing before that I was discouraged to do that made me feel
Mhm.
better about me?
Mhm.
Okay. And then what are some other things? I was trying everything under the sun and I found the things that work for me today might not
Mhm.
work for me tomorrow, might not work for me in 30 days, but I might come back to it in 30
Mhm.
days. So I feel like we have a toolbox. And every day I look in my toolbox and I go, what feels good today? And I pluck something out,
Mm.
whether it be breath work, a visualization, a body scan, journaling, going for a walk,
Mhm.
even if it's for 10 or 15 minutes, in the middle of the day. Okay. And not listening to a podcast and not that I don't love podcasts. I'm just saying
Sure.
when you need to disconnect,
Mhm.
it's better to not.
Not have the headphones in and just get out in nature. Yeah.
To be
Mhm.
present and to
Yeah.
appreciate all the senses and
Mhm.
what do I smell and what is it what's what do I feel and what am I hearing? Like
Yeah.
focusing on that. And again, I don't do that every day,
Right.
but
Yeah.
have that toolbox that you can pull from every day.
Mhm.
That's long term.
Mhm.
And the more you do those things, the more you're going to want to do those things because you're
Right.
going to feel good.
And hopefully you'll take a moment to reflect when you're not feeling good and figure out what you can change. Yeah.
It's not necessarily, again, you're changing from here,
Mhm.
from inside, and externally things will start to change
Mhm.
because people will look at you different too. Because you'll be more, you can change, but the people around you might not, and they might be confused at first.
Mm.
And you kinda have to take them along for the ride.
Mhm. 'Cause your energy is gonna change too.
Absolutely, yes.
So, and you talk about calm confidence. Can you explain your theory around that
Yes.
idea?
That is about, so all these things we talk about, allow us to be steadier,
Mm-hmm.
more measured in our responses. So we're not reacting, we're responding, we're more regulated. People feel safer around us because we're pausing before we respond, potentially, whether that be in person or an email, whatever it happens to be.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come from that place, you start to sit and stand a little taller because you also know that you are steadier and
Mm-hmm.
you are more regulated in your response. You don't rush. You pause before answering, which lets people around you feel safe. But again, you are feeling safe in how you are going to manage a situation. And that just naturally makes you sit a little taller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, talking about that energy kind of shift, if you practice that calm confidence, like you said, it is going to help others feel safe. But I think it'll also maybe just help you with your day and the way it unfolds for you too, right? Because you'll just change that trajectory instead of it being constant go, go, go. You'll find those moments to do those resets, like you said.
Yes. There is nothing that will set me off, me personally, is when technology breaks
Mm,
and people are depending on me
yeah.
for the technology. And I have to still, I have to throttle myself back. Like something breaks and the internet's down. And then I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
don't run over there immediately. Just, okay, take a
Huh?
breath, figure out what's going on, let everybody know they trust me to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the one thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I own a co-working space. If there's no internet, nobody works.
Mm,
So you can,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's like a immediate, but I have taught myself over the years to just, okay, me running around is not going to fix it any quicker.
Right.
And it's
Right.
just going to get everybody else all wound up.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Mm-hmm.
I can pause, okay, let's go through the list of what it could be.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's also better for me too.
Yeah. But those are those moments in life that everybody's going to experience. And, we can make a choice. Do we want to come from it from a place of calm, confidence, like you say, or do we want to be reactionary and lose our what and ruin the rest of the day? We have a choice.
And and that energy spills over to
Mm-hmm.
everybody around you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when you have kids. I mean, our kids are great at pushing our buttons.
Mm-hmm.
They're and it's kind of their job. They're figuring out their own boundaries by
Yeah.
testing your boundaries.
How far is she going to go before
Right,
I? Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times where I would just, okay, we're not going to talk about this right now because you're pushing my buttons and I might say something that I will regret. So
Mm-hmm.
let's revisit this in about 30 minutes when we both
Mhm.
have a chance to calm down. As a parent, again, you're setting that example and your child has more confidence in you to be fair. And that helps you to be more confident as well. I mean, those
Yeah.
situations happen all day, every day. And, you know, you get to choose. Being aware that it's happening, that's the key. And I'm just gonna come back to the more you take these little moments in your day to come back and breathe and whatever, the more you do that, the more you're aware of when your brain starts to spiral. And you go, "Oh, I see you doing that. Time
Right.
to come back now. Thank you."
Yes. We're all human. We're all gonna have these moments. So the more we can use our toolbox, the calmer we can be. Yeah.
Because everything's easier then. But it happens to me too.
Just trying again is, where we can make it better the next time.
Yep, absolutely.
So, Catherine, this has been a great conversation. Do you mind sharing your resources and where people can find out more about the work you do?
I would say I started by publishing meditations. So I have hundreds of meditations available on Insight Timer and YouTube, and starting to upload them to Spotify as well.
Nice.
Uh, but I started with that, and then I had been thinking about writing a book for 17 years, and I finally did it. And it's about mindful journaling. And
Nice.
so my first book is called Inner Affirmations. You can get it on Amazon or Audible. Uh, and it comes, there are practical exercises through the book to walk you through the process of how I defined mindful journaling. And and then I had people asking for more. So I published another one. Uh, and I'm working on my next book right now.
So that's amazing that you already have 2 books out, you're working on a 3rd, so that's great, and it's good feedback, if people are asking for more, that is that is, definitely needed out in the world, so thank you for that.
I was going to also add that if you're not sure which mindfulness practice is going to work for you today or tomorrow or whatever, I also have a quiz on my website, and you walk through it. It's pretty easy to go through, and at the end of that, it tells you which mindfulness practice of 5, because there's a limit to how much I can put out on that one quiz, but it's a place to start. And a lot of people find that, oh, I hadn't thought about doing that as a mindfulness practice. So that's usually where I like to start with people, is take the quiz, see what is working for you, and go from there.
Nice, that's great, it's a good place to start for people, so we'll make sure all of that's in the show notes. Do you have any final thoughts that you wanna share with listeners and viewers before I let you go?
I think the one thing to remember, and this was said to me many, many years ago, and it has stuck with me, is that whatever's going on in the moment, it is exactly right and perfect for you. And to just, okay, this might suck right now, or it might be great right now, but this is perfect right now.
Yeah, let that sink in, people, because you need to hear that. And it may not make sense for you for a while, but if you come back and listen to this again and you hear that again, hopefully it will make sense. Thank you, Katharine. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's it for today's show of the Go Slow to Go Fast Lifestyle Podcast. And what I appreciate about this conversation with Katharine is how practical and honest it was. So many people are doing their best, showing up every day, handling so much, and yet still feeling like there's something missing. It's not broken. Life is just stretched too thin. One of the biggest takeaways for me from today's conversation was this: calm confidence isn't something that you're either born with or not. It's something that you can build without losing your ambition, your drive, or the job that you have, or even yourself, who you are. It's something that you can build and you can maintain over a long period of time to continue to be successful in life. If this conversation resonated with you, maybe the next step isn't doing more, but noticing where you might be running on empty and trying one small shift that helps you feel a little steadier. So join me next time for more episodes. And until then, remember, the light in me honors the light in you. And as you head into the rest of your week, let your light shine through. Go slow to go fast, and thanks for listening.